For homework, the power rule differentiation worksheet, we're going to look at a couple of questions here. So we're going to look at f, and we're going to differentiate f using the power rule. So when we differentiate this, first of all, we need to recognize that log 5 is not a function, but a constant. So that's going to always differentiate to 0. And when we differentiate this, what we want to do is make sure that we have this in the the coefficient and isolated power. So we're going to rewrite this as 1/2 as my coefficient, and the power is going to be 1 minus 1/3. So the power is going to be positive 2/3. And when we multiply this out, we get 2/3 times 1/2. That gives us 1/3. And then when we apply the power rule, we're going to subtract 1 from the power, so we end up with that. We can simplify this and just say that y prime is equal to 1 over 3, and the 1/3 becomes a root 3. Looking at I, what we probably want to do is, because we want to isolate the power of the coefficient, what we could probably do first is expand this out. So I'm going to expand this out. I get negative 1 over x times root x in the denominator. That's going to be power 3 over 2. Then we go outside. So it's going to be plus. It's going to be x divided by x, which is 1. Inside, I get plus 1 over root x. So I'm going to write that at x to the 1/2. And lastly, it's going to be minus x. Those are my 4 terms. And I want to make sure that I know what the coefficient, that's going to be coefficient of negative 1. The power is going to be negative 3 over 2. Now, we don't always need to be writing that power as an exponent like that, as a negative exponent, but it is useful, especially when you're first starting out, to keep track of the power. So this is coefficient of 1, exponent of negative 1/2, and a coefficient of 1. So when I differentiate this, when I do the derivative then, the derivative is going to be negative times negative is positive, and then I'm subtracting 1 from the power, it becomes negative 5 over 2. The 1 differentiates to 0. This becomes, the power comes down as negative 1/2, so I'm going to do a minus 1/2. I'm going to subtract 1 from that power, so I get negative 3 over 2. And then minus the derivative of x is just 1. Okay, and then I can rewrite this. I can leave it like that, but I can put, since it's a negative exponent, I'm going to put that in the denominator. 2 is going to be the square root of x to the power 5, and then minus 1 over 2 square root x to the power 3, and then minus 1.